What's up, Soul Family? Coming at you with another collective reading. This one's gonna be on Broken Wishbone, which means a wish will not be granted. If you're looking for a one-on-one reading, you can do so by booking with me in the link in the bio or by directly messaging me. The first reading's $20 for up to 20 minutes. You can ask whatever question you want, or I can pull and see what comes out. And if it doesn't resonate for whatever reason, then I'll simply just refund you. So I'm going to assume that if this is happening, then it has to be for a reason. The last time I had an experience of I had to go to like some meeting. And longest story short, I wasn't able to make it. And because I wasn't able to make it for that time, I had to reschedule it. And I thought it was going to be really inconvenient. It was really frustrating because it cost me money to reschedule what I had to do. But long story short, it worked out better because the person that I ended up having the interaction with benefited me more than the person that I initially would have ran into. So I say this to say sometimes we get redirected and we're not always aware as to why, especially in the moment. It seems very frustrating, but it's important to know that if we get redirected, and especially if we are connected and we're trusting that we have a connection to our spirit guides, our higher self, the universe, etc., then it's important to know that sometimes we get redirected for good reason. I wish they could tell us in the moment. I wish they could be a little bit more clear on it. But, I think that also comes as we start to communicate better and as we start to learn how to bridge the gap with how we can speak to our guides. And maybe this is how they're telling you right now. I could be the way that they are telling you right now, that something that didn't happen the way that you're hoping for, especially if you really wanted it, even if you got signs for it, might not have worked out for a reason. So we have Parrot, which is someone will gossip about all your secrets. We have October. And then I pulled one more, which is going to be Barrel. And Barrel is, you will feel something is lacking in your life, perhaps love, money, or goals. So right away, this makes me feel like whatever it was that didn't happen and didn't work out for you, it happened because of the fact that maybe it looked good on paper, but sometimes as we then actually go through the experience, like our higher mind knows the paths and the timelines before we actually experience it. So what could have happened is it could have been something that looked good on paper, but when you actually might have then indulged with it, it might not have worked out the way you wanted it to. There are countless times where I have readings for people where, in Seven of Cups, having options. So there's many times where I do readings for people, and for one reason or another, it's pointing towards the potential partner that they have. Yeah, them having a bond, but then it could even point towards the nuance of them not feeling seen, them not feeling appreciated, them not feeling connected, and them still feeling isolated, even though on paper, they still love each other, and even though they'd still be very close. So I think it's really important to know that sometimes we can look at something that might seem good or might seem beneficial to us from the perspective that we're standing in, but when we actually get to experience it, it might not be the way that we are hoping for. So the Seven of Cups, it pops up when we have different options and different timelines we can go down, and not necessarily one is necessarily better than the other. I'm going to pull two this time. Oh, sorry, guys. So then we have the Nine of Cups and the Ace of Cups. So, and it's funny because the Nine of Cups is a wish fulfilled card, and the Ace of Cups is it's like new, fresh energy. So I like to think that, yeah, your wish initially wasn't granted, but what you desired still might come through. So that happens many times where we desire something and then it might come to us in a different way that might be more beneficial. One of the things, I think one of the cooler ways that this happened in my experience was I've always been very into psychology and therapy and wanting to be able to help individuals who have mental health issues or just in general of life. You don't even have to have mental health issues to want to experience therapy or to interact with that concept. But I never had the capacity to go to school for whatever circumstances, that I was going through at the time. However, what ended up happening for me was I now do tarot, and now I get to experience that in a way that I wasn't expecting. So my mind was focused on getting to do psychology and being a therapist at some point. But what happened was tarot fell into my lap, and I feel like this is significantly more aligned with what I would like to do as a result of the fact that the knowledge that I have about the metaphysical realm and the occult would surpass and give me deeper insights into people's experiences than I believe psychology would be able to. And because psychology is still very new, it's still a certain man-made structure that people are learning and kind of figuring out. So I like tarot because even though my mind initially for however many years, it was focused on trying to become a psychologist, this basically fell into my lap. And I'm not saying that I am a psychologist. I'm not saying I have extensive knowledge to the degree that they do of certain mental illnesses or ailments. But what I will say is the experience and knowledge that I have is still worth something. And it's at least in my experience, been able to help people where psychology might not have been able to even comprehend what was going on with said individuals. So I'm saying all this to say sometimes we don't get our wish granted, but then our wish gets granted. Like, that's just kind of the energy that I'm seeing there. And we have so many cups. We have the Nine of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and then the Seven of Cups. So it's like there are so many different options, and your cup's still going to be overflowing. And again, sometimes we might not necessarily see the path in front of us until we're actually navigating through it. And then we're like, oh, okay. And then you start to think about all the things that you would have really desired out of something, and you start to think, okay, this is better in so many different ways than I might have anticipated. So with the Five of Pentacles, there's a lot of feeling maybe like you're not being supported and like you're not connected and you're feeling left out in the cold. And I think a lot of times, many times when we're going through spiritual awakenings, especially, or when we're going down unconventional paths, we can have the energy of not feeling connected and not feeling like there's somebody who's able to fully understand or support us in the way that we need or show up for us in the way that we would hope. That, and many times when we're trying to figure things out, sometimes we go through financial issues, like when we're not able to fully be as abundant through the transitions that we're going through. So I think it's just a matter of trusting our intuition, trusting ourselves, and continuing to know that where we are headed, even if we can't fully grasp it, might be better off or might work out better for us in the longest run. I'm going to pull a couple more. And the Tower moment. So yeah, Tower is one of those things, it's not always bad. It's just it's sometimes sudden change. And sudden change is like the sometimes deconstruction of our old belief systems and our old reality and our old experiences, and then the reformation of them into something new. So it depends on the old structures that we were experiencing. It depends on how much they really needed to go. And sometimes we experience tower moment after tower moment because we keep on going back to the same situation scenario, when in reality we might need to be considering or choosing a different path. So I'd like to say that the tower moments aren't necessarily bad. They can be very traumatic sometimes, but they don't always have to be, especially if we are aware of the circumstances in which we're navigating them through. Okay, cool. We have, like, I think 2 more that flew out. So we have the Nine of Wands and the Five of Cups. So due to the past experiences that we've had, it looks like it's like you're drained, you're exhausted. It's like not only are there a lot of like disappointments, it's like you've also kind of like been beat up. So it's like you're not only are you, it's like you're you're exhausted. It's like you fought these battles, you're tired, you've gone through grief, you've gone through understandably very difficult and heavy experiences that might have pushed you into, feeling sometimes like the thing that we were hoping for or desiring was like the key, the way, or the method which would have resolved or solved our issues. But sometimes, again, when one wish doesn't get granted, something else comes up, and the Ace of Cups would make me really think that there is something different that's going to shift this experience. And it might not be something you're expecting, it might be something you're expecting, or it might have come to you already, and you're like, okay, like I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but I'm trying to move forward. And I think the biggest thing about the Five of Cups energy is, and I'm not a toxic positive person, is trying our best not to look at the cups that are overturned and the things that went wrong when there's still so much that can go right for us. So it's always important to keep in mind that just because something didn't work out, it doesn't mean that things are not going to. And then we have the Two of Cups. So I'd like to think that maybe maybe you're with a partner, maybe this is with a friend or a family member, maybe this is somebody that you're really close with. Or it's like in this image specifically, they're 2 variants of herself. So it could be that maybe you're at a point in which you are really connecting to you and your higher self, or your inner self, or the other aspects of yourself that are kind of like leading you to this manifestation, or this wish being granted, or the shift that you are hoping for. So sometimes we just have to trust our partner, be it internally, be it the partner that we are, connected to, or even otherwise, if it's just like a friend or family member, whoever we're seeing eye to eye with and we're working on. Sometimes we have to trust that things will work out for the better, and it's not always easy to comprehend in that moment. But I think this is the last card for a reason, because it points towards also like a really celebratory energy, like where you guys are it's like you guys are, I don't know how to properly say it, cheersing each other. I forgot the fucking name for it. I'm so sorry. Sometimes like English words just slip from my mind, but you get what I'm trying to say. But either way, peace and blessings, and I'll catch you guys in the next reading.